The silence of the Willow Creek bells. The small town of Willow Creek, nestled in a peaceful valley of the Appalachian Mountains, had always been synonymous with tranquility for Sarah Jenkins, with her dark hair like fertile earth and honey-colored eyes that reflected the warmth of her spirit. Sarah loved the simplicity of her life as a primary school teacher, surrounded by the beauty of nature. Y la comunidad unida de su hogar. One spring day, the calm of Willow Creek was interrupted by the arrival of Daniel Hayes, a young doctor with a serious and compassionate look who came from the bulliciosa ciudad de Chicago para ocupar la plaza vacante en la clínica local. Daniel, con su porte elegante y sus ojos color avellana que denotaban una profunda sensibilidad, rápidamente se integró busy city of Chicago to fill the vacant position in the local clinic. Daniel, with his elegant bearing and hazel eyes that denoted a deep sensitivity, quickly integrated in the life of the town, earning the respect of its inhabitants with his dedication and kindness. Sarah and Daniel met at the town's annual fair under the shade of the centenary willows that I gave the name Willow Creek. His connection was immediate and profound. They shared a passion for community, a love for nature, and a tacit understanding of the joys and sorrows of life in a small town. Their romance blossomed with the same delicacy as the wildflowers that covered the hillsides in spring. The afternoons were filled with walks along the wooded paths, home-cooked dinners, shared with the families of the village, and transcendental conversations under the starry mantle of the mountainous sky. Daniel admired Sarah's dedication to her students and the way in which she illuminated their lives with their enthusiasm, while Sarah found in Daniel's calm and empathy a safe haven and a soulmate. Their commitment was a celebration for all of Willow Creek, uniting its inhabitants in the joy of seeing such genuine love blossom. They married in a simple but emotional ceremony in the small village church, with the bells of Willow Creek ringing. They joyfully played in the valley. However, Sarah and Daniel's happiness was soon overshadowed by an unexpected tragedy. A car accident on a stormy night took their lives. Of Sarah's younger sister, Emily, leaving an immense void in Sarah's heart and in the entire community. Sarah's pain was deep and paralyzing. She withdrew from the world, unable to find consuelo in the beauty that he loved before. Daniel, devastated by his wife's suffering, did everything possible to support her, but the shadow of the loss seemed to come between them, creating a silent and painful distance. It was during this dark time that Emily's mother, Martha, began to show a silent resentment towards Daniel. In her pain, Martha implicitly blamed Daniel for not having been there to protect Emily, despite the irrationality of her accusation. His cold glances and veiled comments created a palpable tension in the small community. The situation became even more complicated when a new resident arrived in Willow Creek, Olivia Bennett. Olivia, a sophisticated and enigmatic woman with striking beauty and an unknown past, became installed in an old house on the outskirts of the town. His presence aroused the curiosity and suspicion of the inhabitants of Willow Creek. Daniel, as the town doctor, was one of the first to interact with Olivia. She seemed to suffer from a chronic ailment that required regular visits to the clinic. During these consultations, Daniel was professional and compassionate, but the intensity of Olivia's gaze and her personal questions about his life and marriage began to bother him. Sarah, still dealing with her pain, barely noticed the growing tension in the town or the strange the fascination that Olivia seemed to exert on Daniel. His world had been reduced to silence and sadness, and communication with his wife had become scarce and superficial. The drama intensified. When rumors about the relationship between Daniel and Olivia began to circulate, some villagers had seen them together outside the clinic, on seemingly innocent walks through the woods. Martha, feeding her resentment, was one of the main spreaders of these rumors, insinuating a betrayal that did not yet exist. The truth, however, was much more complex. Olivia B. Bennett was not who he claimed to be. In reality, he was an old acquaintance from Daniel's past in Chicago, a woman with a turbulent history and a persistent obsession with him. She had tracked Daniel until Willow Creek with the intention of recovering it, without caring about the damage it could cause to her marriage and the community. Olivia began to manipulate situations, looking for opportunities to approach Daniel and sow doubts in Sarah's mind about his fidelity. He used his charm and his apparent vulnerability to gain the trust of some of the townspeople, weaving a net of insinuations and lies. One day, Sarah found an anonymous letter in her mailbox, insinuating a secret relationship between Daniel and Olivia. The letter, written in an unknown handwriting, awakened in Sarah a mixture of disbelief and a latent fear. Although she trusted Daniel, The rarefied atmosphere of the town and Martha's coldness had sown a seed of doubt in her heart. The confrontation between Sarah and Daniel was painful. Sarah, struggling to control her emotions, showed him the letter and asked him directly about his relationship with Olivia. Daniel, surprised and hurt because of his wife's distrust, he vehemently denied any inappropriate behavior and explained the purely professional nature of his meetings with Olivia. However, the seed of doubt had already germinated in Sarah's heart. Olivia's manipulation and the town's rumors had created a crack in her confidence. The distance between her and Daniel grew even greater, feeding, the anguish of both. The drama reached its peak during a community event in the town square. Olivia, in a calculated act, approached Daniel and embraced him effusively in view of everyone. Sarah, who was observing the scene from a distance, felt as if an icy stab pierced her heart. At that moment, Martha approached Sarah with a triumphant look, whispering poisonous words about Daniel's supposed betrayal. Sarah, overwhelmed by pain and confusion, fled the place, leaving Daniel disconcerted and Olivia with a barely concealed smile. The truth about Olivia's identity and intentions finally came to light thanks to the intervention of an old friend of Daniel's from Chicago, who unexpectedly visited him in Willow Creek. The friend he recognized Olivia and revealed her problematic past and her obsession with Daniel. With the truth revealed, Daniel confronted Olivia, demanding that she leave Willow Creek and stop interfering in his life and his marriage. Olivia, unmasked and furious, left town, leaving behind a trail of pain and confusion. Daniel then faced the challenge of rebuilding the trust. That's Sarah. He confessed the truth about Olivia's past and explained how she had been a victim of her manipulation. Sarah, although hurt by the doubt she had harbored, recognized the sincerity in what Daniel's eyes and the cruelty of Olivia's machinations. The path to reconciliation was long and arduous. Sarah and Daniel had to face the pain of their loss, the distrust that he had sown among them, and the damage caused by Olivia's lies. With patience, love, and honest communication, they began to heal the wounds and rebuild their relationship. Martha, to tell the truth about Olivia and her injustice towards Daniel, she approached her son-in-law with remorse and offered her apologies. The Willow Creek community, ashamed of the rumors they had spread, Gardo also extended his support to Sarah and Daniel. With time, the painful silence that had reigned in their home was replaced by the sound of their laughter and whispers of love. They learned that in the quietest valley, storms can strike, but the strength of their love and the solidarity of their community could help them overcome them. The bells of Willow Creek rang again with joy, not only for a new love, but for a love that had survived loss, doubt, and manipulation, emerging stronger and more resilient. End.